An increase in COVID-19 infections around the US has sent more cities into high-risk categories that are supposed to trigger indoor mask wearing. But much of the country is stopping short of bringing back restrictions amid deep pandemic fatigue. In NYC, cases are again rising and this week crossed the city's threshold for medium risk, indicating the widening spread of the subvariant known as the BA2 that has swept the state's northern reaches. But there appears to be little appetite from Mayor Eric Adams to do an about-face just a few months after allowing residents to shed masks and put away vaccination cards that were once required to enter restaurants and concert halls. Adams has said the city would pivot and reimpose mandates, but has stressed that he wants to keep the city open.
Even though in New York, mandates for masks and vaccination might be the things of the past, whether the restrictions will remain is still very much up to individual businesses.
Nobody needs a mask. Business needs to go on as usual, like anywhere else. Stop blocking us from making our money.
But it was coming more than when it was mandated to wear the mask.
In Boston, even as COVID-19 cases began to tick up again, there's been little drive to reimpose the indoor mask mandate city officials largely lifted 2 months ago. Boston still requires masks in school and on-school buses. A statewide mask mandate was lifted for schools at the end of February. Chicago's infection rate is also rising, even though, like in most places, hospitalization and deaths remain low. But the increasing number of infections caused enough concern that the school district sent a letter to parents alerting them to the possibility that with the rise, Cook County, which includes Chicago, may be moving from low risk to a moderate risk category in the coming days. One of the most jarring reactions came in Philadelphia, which last month abandoned its indoor mask mandate just days after becoming the first U.S. metropolis to reimpose compulsory masking in response to an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. City officials who had said they wanted to head off a new wave of infections abruptly backtracked after what they said was an unexpected drop in the number of people in the hospital and the leveling off of new infections. The turnabout came amid rising opposition to the reinstatement, but city officials said the decision was about data, not politics. Inaction by cities comes after a federal judge in Florida last month struck down a national mask mandate for travelers on planes, trains, and buses. The CDC still urges people to wear face coverings, but the Transportation Security Administration said it would stop enforcing mask mandates at airports and on flights, even as the White House said it would appeal the ruling.
Mask mandate is uncomfortable if you're taking a long flight and you're trying to sleep. You can't breathe because you get shortness of breath.
And I understand everything behind the fact they say put it on one day and take it off the next day. So with that, I have the customer's choice. So if I feel like I'm uncomfortable a little bit, then I would grab my mask.
Nationally, hospitalizations are up slightly, but still as low as any point in the pandemic. Deaths have steadily decreased in the last 3 months to nearly the lowest numbers. The muted response reflects the exhaustion of the country after 2 years of restrictions and the new challenges that health leaders are facing at this phase of the pandemic. An abundance of at-home virus test kits has led to a steep undercount of COVID-19 cases that were once an important benchmark. Researchers estimate that more than 60% of the country was infected with the virus during the Omicron surge, bringing high levels of protection on top of the tens of millions of vaccinations. Hospitalizations have increased, but only slightly. China America Radio, Philadelphia.